Hey guys, in today's video, I will be sharing with you my 3 easy and delicious summer meals that my family enjoys, and we make it over and over again. And they're full of flavor, colorful, fun to make. So I'll be sharing with you my pesto pasta with tomato and mozzarella, turkey burgers filled with spinach and feta and bell pepper, but trust me, you can't taste the spinach or the feta. And then sweet pineapple and beef kebabs with green sauce. And of course, you can't have, a summer night without a dessert. And I'm also making our family favorite berry trifle. It's so easy to make. You're not in the kitchen a long time. You're not cooking or baking. You're just throwing things together. And it is so beautiful to look at. And did I mention it's delicious? I hope you guys give these recipes a try and enjoy them just as much as we do. So we're gonna start off with the dessert, of course, and it's super easy. This is just 1 loaf of pound cake, and I usually get them at Costco. There's 3 of them in a package, and then I just freeze the other 2 until I have to make another one. For the whipping cream, I actually make my own. I think there's just something about making your own whipping cream, but you can definitely buy Cool Whip or even coconut whipping cream would be really good. I haven't tried it, but with coconut milk or coconut cream, it would be very, very, very delicious. So 3 cups of heavy whipping cream, 1 teaspoon of almond extract. You can do vanilla, but I love putting almond extract. It just elevates it to a whole different level. And this is the brand that I use, but you can use any brand. So after that, I will be adding 1 cup of powdered sugar. And as you can tell, I'm not professional at filming myself cooking yet, but I'm getting there. So 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then you just whip it together. You can always add more, you can add less. It's all about what you like. This is just how I like it. I don't like it super sweet because I will be adding a little bit of jam, and that adds a little extra sweetness as well. Here I'm slicing some strawberries, and it's about 2 cups. To my sliced strawberries, I'm adding a zest of 1 lemon and a juice of 1 whole lemon. If you don't want it too lemony, you can just do half of the lemon juice. You can omit the lemon zest altogether. It all depends if you like lemon flavor or not. But I think strawberries and lemon go really well together. And of course, some lemon seeds get into my mixture that I have to fish out. So to bring out more flavor from the strawberries and their sweetness is to add some kind of sugar or sweetener. I'm just adding powdered sugar. So I did 1/3 of a cup of it, and I'm mixing it. I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit with lemon juice, lemon zest, and the powdered sugar. And that's just gonna create the most magical mixture ever. Basically, we're just macerating the strawberries, and then there's gonna be some liquid at the bottom, which is gonna be absorbed by the pound cake, and it's gonna be really good. And yes, I'm still fishing out some of the lemon seeds that are in the mixture. I promise I got them all out. And here I'm ready to assemble my trifle, and here are the strawberries. I'm gonna be using a wild blueberry jam. 2 cups of raspberries and 2 cups of blueberries are gonna be in there as well. And I'm just basically starting the first layer with the pound cake. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can tear up another piece and just fit in the holes. Again, it's not about perfection. It's just about the taste, and it will look beautiful no matter what. So here I already have my first layer assembled, and to the middle of the trifle, that's where I'll be adding the jam. And I just want to show you, just add very little of it. You don't want too much because you don't want it to be overly sweet, but if you like it sweeter, by all means, you can add more. This adds more texture and a little bit more flavor. So once I put the jam in the middle, I'm gonna disassemble the same way again with the pound cake, then the strawberries with its juice, and then other berries, and then whipped cream on top, and then more berries for the design. You can definitely do 3 layers, but for us, 2 was enough. I will say that I'm not good at decorating any type of dessert, but this turned out really pretty. I just feel that the berries do all the work for you, and I did use up some of the remainder of the sliced up strawberries. If you are making this a night or the day ahead, I would suggest slicing up the strawberries the day you're going to be serving it, and then you could just sprinkle some powdered sugar. That's it. I added some fresh mint from my garden, and there you have it, a berry trifle. My next dish is turkey burgers, and for that you'll just need a pound of ground turkey, half a red bell pepper, about 1.5 cups of spinach. I'm not going to use the whole red onion, so probably like 1/4 cup, and then as much as feta as you like, and also zucchini. Here I'm just chopping up the spinach because, well, you don't want big pieces of it, and I'm probably going to be giving this to my toddler, and I don't want him to know there's spinach. It does cook off in the patty, but I like to finely chop it along with bell pepper and onion, and then I'm also going to be grating the zucchini. The reason that I add zucchini to it is because it makes the patties really juicy, and you can't really tell it's in there, but A, it's another vegetable, and B, it just works with turkey patties. So anytime you make a turkey patty, try to put a grated zucchini into it. Now for the red bell pepper, you don't have to put it in there. I mean, you can omit and add or subtract any vegetable you want, but my husband does not like bell peppers. However, he didn't even know it was in there. I chop it not too finely. I like the way it looks because you want the patty to have like different colors into it. That's the whole point of it. The same goes for the onion. You can chop it as finely or as big as you want. I like it finely chopped because I want the onion flavor, but I don't want to bite into a piece of it. And especially if I'm going to be giving this to my toddler, I don't want him to know there's onion in there because he won't eat it. But I'm going to just try to chop it as finely as possible. Once I have everything chopped up, I just throw it all together with the ground turkey. You can add as little or as more of any ingredient as you want. Again, this recipe is very versatile, so you can switch things around. But if you are gonna do one thing, I recommend to do the grated zucchini because it's gonna make it moist and very, very juicy. And don't forget to salt and pepper the mixture. I am using Greek feta, so it is super salty. So be careful how much salt you put in there. I just added a pinch because I just know that that'll be a perfect amount. But again, don't overdo with the salt if you're using the Greek feta. And I just use my fork to mix it until it looks like this. Remember not to overmix the mixture, and to build my patties, I am wearing gloves because it's the easiest way. I actually wet them a little bit with water. That way the mixture does not stick to my gloves. And to make sure that my patties are all even, I just divided the mixture into 4 parts, and then I used each part to make a patty out of it. So this whole recipe is going to be equal to 4 very generous sized patties. We are making these burgers bunless, So as a side, we're just gonna be having some tomatoes, onion, and lettuce. And of course, just my luck, every time I try to grill outside, it is raining. So I had to use my cast iron skillet to grill indoors, which turned out perfect. I'm just using my avocado oil and then just putting the patties. I can do only 2 at a time. So that's what you see me doing. And they are very, very soft. So be careful when you put them on the grill. But don't be afraid, because once you put them on, they will firm up and then you can flip them over with no problem. I'm also going to be making my go-to sauce to any burger, and it's very easy. It's just equal parts of mayo, ketchup, and Greek yogurt. I cooked my patty 4 minutes per side, and once it's cooked, I just layered it on top of my lettuce, put in some tomatoes, some onion, and then of course my go-to burger sauce. I sometimes add capers to it. This time I didn't, because the turkey patty has so much flavor already. I just wanted to keep it simple, but there you have it. A turkey burger that your whole family will love. It is packed with flavor, but it's also very light. And if you don't want anything heavy, this is a very good alternative. For beef kebabs, you will need some beef that I cubed, little pieces like this, so it's easier to put it on the skewer. Pineapple, some kind of sweetener. You can do sugar or honey. I like to use agave nectar, because sugar, I don't know if it dissolves all the time, but this just mixes in really nice and makes the mixture. And this does dissolve right away, and it makes the mixture a little sweet. Some crushed red pepper flakes for the heat. You can also use cayenne. I have done that in the past. Salt, garlic, olive oil, pepper, and then parsley. And that's it. For my sweet pineapple and beef kebabs, I'm just slicing up some pineapple. And if you guys ever tried grilled pineapple, please tell me how delicious it is, because it is the most amazing thing in the world. I love pineapple in general, but once you throw it on the grill, it caramelizes. It tastes like candy. And that's how I like it, honestly, is grilled pineapple. And during summer, we always grill it. But for this recipe, I'm going to be mixing it with the beef and the chimichurri sauce, which will make the kebab extra special. So once I cut up my pineapple, I'm on to making my chimichurri sauce. You can buy a chimichurri sauce if you can find one at a store. You don't have to make your own, but I have some parsley and it's really easy to make. You just throw in some garlic. So a bunch of parsley, that's what I have in my NutriBullet, and I would do 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, depending how garlicky you want it. Also, I'm gonna add some pepper, salt, and then as little or as much of cayenne pepper or red pepper flakes, which I'll be using. Olive oil, I would say about 1/4 of a cup or maybe 1/3 of a cup. And then a sweetener, I'm using agave nectar, but you can also add sugar to it if you don't have agave nectar. And then you just blend it. I just blended it in my NutriBullet. And I just remembered that I forgot to add red wine vinegar. You need some kind of acidity. You can also use lemon juice, but I'm going to be using red wine vinegar because I don't feel like cutting up into a lemon and then fishing out the seeds. Here I added a generous splash of red wine vinegar. I would say about a tablespoon or so, and then I'm mixing it up with my cut up meat, and I'm gonna refrigerate it for it to marinate. The longer it marinates, the juicier and the softer the meat will get. So that's why I don't recommend buying the most expensive cut of meat, because the marinade will make it tender. I'm going to reserve the remainder of the sauce, and then once the kebabs are grilled, I'm going to drizzle it over the kebabs. And then make sure you soak your skewers before throwing them on the grill. You want to soak them in water because then they will burn, and I learned this the hard way. You want to have a skewer and the meat on it. You don't want to just have this all burn up and then you have nothing to hold the meat on or grab it on. So you just want to throw it in the water and let it soak for about a few hours, I would say. And then when when the meat is finally marinated or whatever, then you just skewer it on and throw it on the grill. And this is not even a salsa, it's like a chimichurri paste. Oh, it's so good. It smells really, really good. And then I have a little extra just so I can drizzle on top of the meat. And then if there's anything left over, you can marinate, I would marinate like chicken. You can even dip your, shrimp in it. It's like all-purpose kind of seasoning. Anyways, you can do a lot with it. So you can have as much fun as you like. Once the skewers have been soaked, I just put pineapple and beef and kept alternating them, and then just threw them on the grill and let them grill probably 8 minutes per side. I grilled the kebabs for about 20 minutes, and this is how they look after they're all finished. These are delicious and so easy to eat. So here you would just need olive oil, salt and pepper, pesto, mozzarella, garlic. I like to add lemon to my pesto, some Parmesan Reggiano cheese. This is a yellow squash. Doesn't look too happy, but I like to add any kind of vegetable to the pasta other than tomatoes. So this is what I have in hand. That's what I'll use. And it's a summer squash, so it will be perfect for the summer pasta. Some walnuts. I like to put walnuts in my pesto. I'm not Italian. I don't do anything traditional. This is just how I like it. You can also do pistachios. The thing about walnuts, it's not as expensive if you were to try to find pine nuts. And half of the time I find them, they're not even real pine nuts. They're just kind of like a hybrid made in China. So I just like to use walnuts. And then I'm actually gonna try to sneak in some more veggies, and that's going into the pesto. That's spinach. So spinach and basil together, it's so good. You won't even know that there's spinach in there. And really good, very easy to make. I know it looks like a lot of ingredients, but that's because I am making my own pesto. Every time I go into my backyard, I have this big bush of basil staring at me. So I'm gonna use my fresh basil from my garden to make pesto. So I just washed my basil and I'm just tearing it up and throwing it in my food processor along with some spinach. And then I'm just cubing my Parmesan Reggiano cheese. Unless you have a grated one, you can just throw it in, but I have a thing where I grate my own cheese. So I'm just cubing it because the food processor is gonna do all the work for me. Now for this whole mixture, you'll need 1 large lemon, zest and juice. And I'm trying very hard not to get the seeds in the mixture, and of course I get some in there. I mean, that I'm just notorious for that, so I apologize. And then I'm gonna add a cup of walnuts to the mixture, and then I'm gonna add a few cloves of garlic. Again, you can put as much or as little as you want. Some salt and pepper. Just gonna give it a swirl a few times just to loosen up the mixture, and then after it's a little bit loosened up, I'm gonna add some olive oil while mixing it so it gets really creamy. Once the pesto is done, I'm gonna throw in the pasta into boiling water and set the pesto aside. taste, and the pesto tasted perfect. And now I'm just gonna slice up very thinly my yellow squash, and what happens when you slice it very thinly, it kind of dissolves into the pasta, so you don't even really taste it. Not that it tastes like much of anything, but it just dissolves and it becomes part of the sauce, so when your kid or your toddler eats it, they won't really know it's there. And now I'm gonna slice up these cute little heirloom tomatoes that I picked up at the store. I mean, tomatoes are in season, so why not pick a variety that's colorful and bright to make the dish even more summery. By the time I sliced up my vegetables, my pasta is cooked, and what I'm doing, I'm just trying to reserve some of the pasta water so I could add it to the sauce to make it more creamier and everything to blend together. I am draining the remainder of the water and just setting the pasta aside until I have everything else ready. This dish is going to come together within minutes. To a large pan, you're going to add a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, and the first vegetable I'm going to use is the yellow squash because that's what I really want to really cook through and kind of disappear into the sauce. I'm going to throw that in on medium heat and saute it until it's very, very soft. About 4 to 5 minutes. I'm just going to add some salt and pepper to it just to give it some flavor. Once the yellow squash has cooked down, I'm throwing in my sliced tomatoes, and I don't really want to cook them, I just want to warm them through before adding the pesto sauce. If you like more of a cooked down tomato, then you would want to cook it a little longer, so you can play around and see what really works for you, but we like a little bit more of a fresh taste, and that's why I'm just going to throw them in for a little bit, toss them around, and now I'm going to add my pasta. Once the pasta is added, I'm just mixing it all together just so the pasta gets a little chance to warm up a little bit. And then I'm going to add my pesto. And also, it's very important to add the cooked pasta water because it will really make the sauce creamy and just makes it all come together. Once I turned off the heat, I added my mozzarella so it doesn't fully melt, but just a little bit. And there you have it, homemade pesto pasta with tomatoes, mozzarella, yellow squash, and I like to drizzle it with a little bit of balsamic. It's like not a balsamic vinegar, it's balsamic glaze, and it just, you guys, if you were to smell this, you would be in heaven. I hope you guys give these recipes a try, and I hope you guys enjoy your summer. If you do like them, give my video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!